How's it going, guys? And welcome back to another edition of the Kick Report. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Nike Precision 6. So as for the shoe, it came out in 2022, so it's been a hot minute. These came out in the peak of COVID, so I think Nike was trying to do a little something here and release a pretty good outdoor shoe, or a pretty good budget model shoe, since everything was going on was crazy. But the Precision 7s are out now as well, so I think this is a good time to take a look, especially because these shoes are kind of going for a good price. Additionally, this is again a budget shoe, so throughout this review, don't expect signature level or signature shoe levels of quality. I believe they go for around 75 to 90, so like brand new from Nike. So I wouldn't be don't have your hand standards too high is basically what I'm trying to say. But with that being said, let's move on into comfort. So as for the cushion setup, I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's going to be like an EVA foam material, which I think Nike was trying to go for a more bouncy and responsive type of material, and it really does that. My only thing is it doesn't feel that great to me as a guy who loves like the KD Strobel units and all that type of fancy stuff. This wasn't very giving or very comfortable to me at all. But I will say it gives great court feel. I can feel my foot moving and contorting, and unlike the Adizero Select 2.0s, it doesn't feel like my foot's gonna break. Good foot containment as well. You can kind of see on the upper where the shoe comes up just a little bit, and on the outsole where the shoe pokes out just a little bit as well, to kind of contain your foot and prevent it from rolling and prevent rollover. So I can't be too mad at it. Again, you get what you pay for, which is the common theme among a lot of these Nike shoes, that the more money you put in, probably the higher quality shoe that you're going to get for the most part. So additionally, for the fit, I recommend going true to size, or maybe a half size down. I got these in a 15. Again, my true size is a 14 and a half, and I had a lot of space in these, and that was kind of the reason why I don't really keep these in my hoop rotation. Because having a bigger shoe, you are at risk of rolling your ankle. You have an elevated risk, so just because of that extra dead space in your toe box. So you keep that in mind as well. As for the fit, I recommend these for a smaller, shiftier guard. If you're a player that's super explosive, I wouldn't really recommend these for you, unless you really like the court feel, just because there's just not much cushion. If you're kind of a bone dry hooper, all you need is a shoe to get the job done. Sure, go for these. Save some money while you're at it, and plus these look good as well. So be careful not to go wrong there. And additionally, these aren't narrow or wide. These are kind of a perfect fit in terms of width, or I won't say a perfect fit, but a regular fit. I didn't have any issues with the shoe being too narrow or anything like that. I think especially because these are half size up, so keep that in mind. I'm kind of speaking from that perspective. But I think if these shoes were a 14 and a half, they'd be a very, very solid hoop shoe. So as for the material of the shoe, I kind of mentioned before, you have that EVA foam. You're gonna have almost like a textile material or a textile woven material on the upper. There's gonna be two sides of it, right where the midfoot is. It's gonna be a break. There's a more durable material in the forefoot. And a kind of like a plastic cover to prevent toe drags on both sides, medial and lateral. You're also gonna have that plasticky shield material towards the back of the shoe. You're gonna have it starting in the midfoot and wrapping around to the medial midfoot. And I'm not mad at it. These, for a budget shoe, these are actually very decent materials. It keeps the shoe solid. I think the shoe would be a little bit better if it had like a shank plate, but again, you're asking a little bit too much from these. You get what you pay for. Again, another thing is the laces are kind of different. They are like a thinner type of lace. My shoe came untied a lot with these. Now I don't know if it's because the shoe was just a little bit big on me and there's a little bit of extra dead space, but keep that in mind as well. Additionally, I wanted to mention as well, I do like this red accent on the laces. You can kind of see it pop in there. It's different. It blends in with the logo on the medial side, kind of like matching that red. It was pretty cool. But as for the materials for the upper, for a budget shoe, again, I really like these. It's gonna be very plush, very very plush. Surprisingly so, because there's a lot of budget shoes out there that, especially I've seen from Nike, that really don't feel good at all. But these, especially if they're a half size smaller for me, these will be very very comfortable. As for the traction, you're gonna get like a mirrored herringbone type of look. It's gonna be like herringbone on one side, then herringbone on the other, and then you have like a circular radial pattern in the like where the ball of the foot is in the heel of the foot. There's no nubs or anything like that, so I think they'll be pretty decent for outdoors, especially because the grip was pretty good ondoors. Now I did have a little bit of concern, like a little bit of slippage, but I felt in control. It wasn't something like, oh my gosh, this is inconsistent slip and I may fall and destroy my body in front of the whole gym. It wasn't one of those. So again, we're pretty good for a budget shoe. I think with a wipe or two, it'll be pretty good. The feel is more rubbery than anything. At times it does feel like dry, if that makes sense. It does feel like a dry rubber or like a harder rubber, which is what you'll see with the budget shoes. They'll put a harder rubber compound in there. But because they did, and because there's no nubs on it, I really wouldn't be mad at you if you decided to make this your outdoor hoop shoe, just because they're pretty good with it. Additionally, because of the ankle protect or the rollover protection and the elevated cage for the shoe, it helps the traction more. It puts more stress on the traction. So I think on an elite court, these shoes will be elite too. But on a super dusty court, these shoes wouldn't be great. They'd be okay. They'd get the job done. I wouldn't pull these out of your closet if you're looking for a shoe because you know you're hooping on a bad court. These wouldn't be the ones for me. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into that squeak test. For a budget shoe, not a bad squeak, but you get what you pay for. Now, if I had to compare this shoe to any shoe I've played in before, I would say it's closest to the Kyrie 3. Just that low court feel and kind of quote unquote the lack of cushion in the low court feel, it just really helps the shoe. It really helps the shoe kind of feel low to the ground. It really feels like a Kyrie shoe. Like if they came out and said this is the Kyrie Low 8, I would have been like, oh, okay, maybe a little cheap, but I mean, hey, look, how can I complain? An honorable mention would be the Kyrie Low 6. The only reason I would say it's not as close is because of that 4-foot zoom unit that's in the Kyrie Low 6. It kind of takes away from the lowness of the shoe, and those are a little bit more comfortable anyway. But as to where you can find these, again, the Precision 7s are out, so you can get these for a steal. I got these off Facebook Marketplace, and I think they're about like $60, but this was like a year ago. But yeah, you can find them for like $30 to $60, and it's actually kind of crazy. These are a great shoe to have, at least if you want to hoop outdoors and look good while you do it. So for my favorite colorway, I have to give it to these. The colorway is really the main reason why I bought these. I was like, whoa, these are a pretty good looking shoe, and cheap too. Like, why not have it in my hoop rotation? So if you're looking for these, this colorway is called the White Doll. It's gonna be just a pink and white, hints of red, super simple colorway. It looks great. Overall, I would give these shoes a 7.5 out of 10. They get the job done. They just, on a different scale, they'd be a lot better if you wanted to like specify it to outdoors or something like that. But competing with the other shoes, it doesn't really stack up. Now, the highlights of this shoe, I would say, is the comfortable upper, the reliable traction, and depending on who you are, you could say responsive cushion. Some people really like that. I'm not the biggest fan, which is why they're 7.5. But these are a niche shoe. Some people will love them, some people will not. It just depends on who you are. But again, I would recommend these for my shifty guards. Love that low court feel, or really anybody who loves the court feel. If you have heavy feet, or you have foot problems because you like you broke your foot in the past, I would not recommend these for you, just because there's not great impact protection on these. But for quick little shifty moves, these should be pretty good, especially on a good court. Also, I wanted to give a special shout out to my guy Tommy. If you're seeing this, I really appreciate you for all watching that don't know. He kind of saw me recording this and helped me film this video by kind of getting my rebounds, and it goes a long way. So shouts out to you, Tommy. Well, all right, guys, that is going to conclude today's episode of the Kick Report. As always, I appreciate you all for tuning in. Be sure to let me know what you think about these. Do you have a pair? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Do you want me to review a different shoe? Feel free to voice your opinion down in the comments. I'll be down there to see what you guys think as well. But as always, I appreciate your support, and I will catch you guys in the next one. This has been the Kick Report.